श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषगौरोगिणामिधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। व्यासम् अष्टनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकदातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणिधे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Previously, and in Bhishma Parva, we were looking at Sanjaya explaining different parts of this Prithvi, this Bhumi, right? So how this Bhumi is divided into different dvipas. So total 7 dvipas we looked at: Jambu, Plaksha, Shalmali, Kusha, Krauncha, Shaka, and Pushkara. So 7 dvipas we looked at, and those 7 dvipas again surrounded by different various type of liquid, lavana, so liquid salt water, sugar cane, suroda, sura, that is wine, grita, ghee, kshira, milk, dadi, uh, curd, and then water. Like this, different things are covered. And these dvipas again, and in each of those dvipas, whatever that was, we looked at the characteristics of those dvipas, what exists in this, the mountains, the residents of those dvipas, rivers and provinces, and all those things we looked at. So again, one of the questions that comes to most people is how these dvipas, 7 dvipas, relate to today's world, what we see today as the Earth, Bhumi, how this relates, right? So there are various theories and interpretations of these 7 dvipas. And for example, if you look at whenever we do Sankalpa Puja, any Puja Sankalpa, we say Adya Brahmana Dvidya Parardya Shveta Vraha Kalpa Vaivasadaman Mantraya Ashtam Chitume Kali Yuge Pratame Bhade, like this. So we tell the time where we are today. So in the current Brahma, in his second part of his life, Shveta Varaha Kalpa, in the Shveta Varaha, the Kalpa known as Shveta Varaha, and then in that Kalpa, Vaivasutaman Mantra, right? And then Ashtamshiri, in that Vaivasutaman Mantra total, in this Kalpa, 28th Mahayuga, and in that Kali Yuga, in that first part of that Kali Yuga, we are in that time period. And then we also talk about the location where we are performing this puja or whatever the ritual from, right? So Jambu Deve, Varadavarche, Varadakande, and blah blah blah. Talk about the Kshetra, Nagara, and town, village, whatever it is that's mentioned there. So normally when Sankalpa is done in India, Bharata, obviously people say Jambodhive, Bharatavarshe, Bharadakande, and then the Kshetra. Okay, whatever the place that is, they talk about those provinces and the towns or villages and things like that. They will talk about that, mention those things. But outside Bharata, there are different views on what should be. For example, many while doing Sankalpa from Europe say Shalmali Dvipe. Okay, and those in US, for example, North America, they use as Krauncha Dvipe. Instead of Jambu Dvipe, they use those things. But then again, there is no scripture-based definition that Europe is Shalmali, or as far as I have come across, there is no such thing. Okay, America is as Krauncha Dvipa and things, because these Dvipas, as I said, Shalmali Dvipa, for example, is surrounded by Sura, wine, right? So if we are saying Europe is Shalmali Dvipa, it should be surrounded by wine, right? And we don't see that. And similarly, Krauncha Dvipa is America, it's surrounded by Kshira. So if that's the case, again, what I would say is these dvipas, 7 dvipas, as the Bhumi as mentioned, as it is as seen by those rishis and those who have attained that knowledge, and not for the ordinary people, right? So, and again, we looked at last time these dvipas, each of those dvipas, the residents in those dvipas, whether siddhas, munis, and yakshas, or whoever it is, devatas, whoever it is residing in those dvipas, they all have, in each dvipa, the residents are different, right? It is not human habitation was mentioned in Jambu Dvipa only. So we need to be careful. That's why when we say Europe is Shalmali or Americas, in today's world, Americas is Crauncha and things like that, mapping those things is just somebody probably made it up. Okay, so I haven't come across anything that says Europe is Shalmali or Americas is Crauncha, North Americas is Crauncha Dweep. So we, again, these dweepers is there. Again, science hasn't proven that there are other dweepas, other habited uh, islands or worlds and things like that at present. It may prove in future, or it may not be future, because those yakshas or rakshasas or whatever we call those things are not visible to the naked human eye, the ordinary people, right? So we may never see those things. So again, what I say is the 7 dvipas, Shastra says that, and Shastras are given by these, whether it is Mahabharatas or this is mentioned in Puranas or whatever it is, that's given by those rishis who had those insights and those who have experienced those things. Okay, so it is not something that just somebody came up. So everything we say in Shastra doesn't have to be proved by science. Also, everything that says in science is not constant. Okay, science is what we say today may change tomorrow because of a new invention. So Shastras is the constant one. So with that background, again, Shalmali Dvipa in Europe, for example, in when priests do Sankalpa, they say Shalmali Dvipa, but I haven't come across anything that says Europe is Shalmali Dvipa. Okay, so and we haven't seen any wine seas or oceans surrounding these European islands. So with that, we'll move to the next phase of Mahabharata, which again in Bhishma Parva, we move to a stage where it is a sub-parva in Bhishma Parva. And now we start with Bhagavad Gita Parva. So in this Parva, we come across Bhagavad Gita as narrated by Krishna. So before that, again, there are some build up to those Bhagavad Gita chapters. So we will cover them and then we'll go there. So we start with, this is where actually the Bhishma Parva starts. Okay, so whatever we said in the previous discussions on the Bhishma Parva, all that the Bhumi, details of Earth, the yugas and times and distances, the width, depth, and circumference, and everything of sun, moon, Rahu, and all those things that we looked at previously, all that discussion happened between Sanjaya and Dhritarastra before all this Kurukshetra march and everything. Now we start the Bhishma Parva. Okay, actual Bhishma Parva, the story starts in Kurukshetra now. So Sanjaya, having all the knowledge of past, present, and future because of Vyasa's blessing, and seeing all the things as if it were present before his own eyes, even though he may be quite far away or may not be hearing those things, or people may be just thinking, he can still learn about all those things. Such as Sanjaya, he comes quickly from the battlefield, from Kurukshetra, rushing in grief into the court, in Hastinapura court. He comes and presents himself to Dhritarashtra, and who was plunged in thought of what's happening in Kurukshetra, because he wasn't aware of all the events that's happening in Kurukshetra. And he says that Bhishma, the grandson of Bharatas, the eldest of these Bharata's Kuru family, has been killed. So Sanjaya comes, rushes from Kurukshetra to Hastinapura and tells Dhritarashtra that Sanjaya has been Bhishma has been killed. He says that I am Sanjaya, I bow to you, and Bhishma, son of Shantanu, the grandson of Bharata, has been slain. So he's been killed. So that warrior who is the grandfather of all the Bharatas and he has been killed. He is the best among all the warriors and he is having enormous energy of with among all the bowmen that's assembled in that Kurukshetra. He had the most energy, and that Kuru grandson, he lies in the bed of arrows in Kurukshetra, and Bhishma, whose energy, based on whose energy Duryodhana and others have engaged in that match of dice game and went into this battlefield, that Bhishma has been killed by Shikandini. So Sanjaya says that Shikandini killed Bhishma. So Mahabharata war, we have known what happened. What happened? First thing we know is Bhishma has been killed. So again, Sanjaya continues narrating more about that. He says that that chariot warrior, that Kaurava Maharati, Athirati, Bhishma, who in a single chariot, he vanquished entire all the kings assembled in that Kashi Swayamvara when he went to for the Swayamvara of Amba, Ambika, Ambalika. When he went there, he defeated everybody. That Bhishma and that Bhishma who fearlessly fought Parashurama and who couldn't, even Parashurama could not kill him, that Bhishma has been killed by Shikandin. And then again, the Bhishma who is resembles, looks like Indra himself in bravery and Himavat in firmness and his ocean in gravity and Bhumi itself in patience and he was invisible in all the arrows. That Bhishma has been killed by the prince of Panchala, Shikandin. And again, he is the one who, looking at him, all the Pandavas and everybody was trembling with fear. That he was like a lion among the cowherd. That Bhishma, who fought for 10 nights, 10 days, he fought in that battlefield, and he has been defeated and he's been killed by Shikandini. And he was like Indra himself, scattering thousands of arrows at me with great composure. And every day that Bhishma used to kill 10,000 warriors, and he did that for 10 days. He's been killed by Shikandini. So Sanjay narrates that hearing this, Dhritarashtra says, "How has Bhishma been killed? How he's been killed by Shikandini? How did my father, who is like Indra himself, fall from that chariot? How did he do?" And Dhritarashtra asked more and more questions like that. How that Bhishma, who is like a Devatas themselves, who led the life of Brahmacharya for his father's sake, and that Bhishma, who is having that great energy, who is having a great wisdom, capacity for exertion, is having a great strength, and how did that Bhishma, once he once he's been killed, how did our warriors feel? So again, so Dhritarashtra's attention immediately falls into what happened to his sons after Bhishma's death. And again, he asks the questions, how did hearing that Bhishma has been killed, what happened? It's sad that my heart does not break. He says that grief still, even with that grief, my heart for some reason does not break into pieces. And he starts feeling that Bhishma's death. And he also asks more questions. How did advanced Bhishma went ahead in that battlefield? Who stayed by his side? Who proceeded with him? And who are the brave warriors who went alongside him and who were there in that division of that went with Bhishma? And again, while seizing those Pandava army and everything, what are the great things that he achieved, and how did Pandavas again oppose Bhishma in that battlefield? How did they do it? Dhritarashtra again more asks, he asking again, killing all those enemy warriors and everybody. How did Kunti's sons manage to overthrow this Bhishma, who was unconquered one? His, but how he was how he has been killed by those Pandavas in that battlefield? Again, in that battlefield for 10 days, he achieved great things and he killed 100,000 warriors in that 10 days, every day 10,000. So how that Bhishma, how did Pandavas manage to resist him? How did Bhishma, Pandavas battle with Bhishma? And how did Bhishma could not conquer Pandavas when Drona was with him, when Krupa was again near with him and Ashwatthama was there? How did Bhishma was allowed? How did Bhishma got killed when all these people were there? Drona, Krupa, Ashwatthama, all these were there. How did that happen? How could Bhishma, who is an Atirata, again Maharata, and normally all the warriors are classed as Maharata, right? We looked at that, the Udyaga Parva, and Bhishma and Drona, Bhishma said that him and Drona, they are above everybody, right? So if Dhritarashtra says that he's Atirata. And how even Devatas could resist even the Devatas. How can such a Bhishma has been killed by Shikandini? And he also says that how did a Bhishma who managed to defeat Parashurama in the battlefield when he came for supporting Amba, how he was defeated in this battlefield by Pandavas and Shikandini? Again, then Dhritarashtra's questions starts thinking whether did everybody desert Bhishma in that battlefield? Was he alone and every Pandavas attacked together? So that's why he asks, did my army, did they not desert Bhishma in that battlefield? What did Duryodhana command standing around Bhishma? What did he not protect him? What did, when all Pandavas placing Shikandini in front, when they came against Bhishma, what did Kauravas do? Again, he talks about, it is very difficult for my heart that it's still beating even after hearing Bhishma's death. And he again grieves for Bhishma's death, and he again questions more and more about what happened in that battlefield. Who were those heroes who resisted that Bhishma, who was coming like a ocean with his arrows like crocodiles and things in that ocean, coming like there and consuming all the foot soldiers and elephants and horses and everything that's killed like a Vadava fire at the end of the Yuga, the fire that destroys the world, like that Bhishma would go, and who all those people that resisted that. Again, when for Duryodhana's sake, Bhishma went to that battlefield, who were there in front of him, who protected him, and who were there on the right side of him, who were there gaining. They again resisted the enemies from backside, Bhishma's backside, who protected from him front, and who were there in front of him, who were there on the right side, who were there on the left side. All those things he asked questions. And how was his, even when all this protection was there, who all others made the painful journey, their last journey in that battlefield, again protecting Bhishma. Even if people were there on the four sides, Bhishma still been killed. So that means the people who are protecting Bhishma also probably have been killed. So that's what Dhritarashtra asks here, saying that who all the other people that got killed while protecting Bhishma. So how did Pandavas able to defeat him? And he asked question and question after the question like this, similar themes. Bhishma is like Brahma himself. How did that Bhishma got killed in that battlefield? In the previous days, in the olden days, when Devatas were engaged in a battle with Danavas, at that time Bhishma went there and supported the Devatas, and he such a Bhishma has been killed in this battlefield. So he was again world renowned for uh, uh, his truthfulness, his bravery, and everything. Full control, passions under full control, and he had every weapon in him. And such a energetic Bhishma, how he was killed by in that battlefield. Again, he talks about. Then he says that in my judgment, unrighteous adharma has been done in this battlefield in the name of dharma. The Pandavas now, with the desire of acquiring the kingdom, they are killing even the superior peoples who are superior to them. They are started killing them. So Dhritarashtra again blames Pandavas here now for Bhishma's death. So he again asks similar questions more and more on how did this um, Pandavas manage to kill him when Bhishma went there. Did uh, Pandavas all of them attack together, or after Bhishma's death, what happened to my son? Is he now like a woman, unprotected woman? Is it like that? So is it all they are panic struck now? What's happening? So is Duryodhana now like somebody who is trying to cross this sea with boat actually sinking? So is Bhishma's death? Is he able to? Was he able to recover from that? What Duryodhana is doing? And again, he says that Dhritarashtra says, whatever when the death approaches, one cannot escape, whether it is from whether in consequence of weapons or from courage or ascetic merit or intelligence or firmness or through danas, whatever it is, one cannot escape. A man cannot free himself from death. This is again looking here death as a end of the body, not the atma, right? We looked at previously in Udyoga Parva when Sanat Sujata came and he said, there is no death, right? So death is only for the ignorance, and that's what we're looking in Gita Shastra as well. So Atma does not have to, what Dhritarashtra is talking about here is death of this body. So this body, uh, whether you cannot protect it from the weapons or strength, courage, ascetic merit, or intelligence, or firmness, dana, whatever you do, this body has to end at some point. So when time comes, even everything that going to happen, it will definitely happen. So again, uh, he talks about he says that on account of my sons Duryodhana and others, I was grieving and I had sorrows, full of sorrows, and I always took relief from Bhishma. And when Bhishma is lying like that in the battlefield, what happened to Duryodhana? And he also talks about cruel Kshatriya duties that they had to do. Pandavas, with desire of kingdom, they uh, did not hesitate to kill Bhishma, and similarly, Duryodhana, desire of keeping the kingdom, did not uh, hesitate to sacrifice Bhishma in that battlefield. So Dhritarashtra says that both Pandavas and his sons, they are observing the Kshatriya duties. That's why they do not incur any sins by doing this. So display of their prowess, exhibition of their strength, and all these things are the duties of Kshatriyas. So even though they do not incur any sins by this action, still it is a grief for him. And he again asks, how did Pandavas oppose Bhishma? How did the troops were arrayed, structured when they faced each other? What did Duryodhana, Karna, Shakuni, Dushasana, all these do when Bhishma was killed? And so how did, again, tell me, I don't have any peace until I hear all this in detail. How did my father die? Who was that ornament in that battlefield? How he was killed? I'm very keen to hear all the details from you. I will listen to all those sorrows that's coming my way from those actions by Duryodhana. So I will listen to everything, whether it is ill-ordered, something I should not enjoy, I won't enjoy listening, or whether it's something I well-ordered or something that I'm going to like. Everything I will listen. Tell me everything, Sanjaya. Tell me all those things that happened in detail. So I want to listen all those things. So how did two armies, Kurus and others, they battle each other in that battlefield? Tell me all those things. So listening to this, Sanjaya starts narrating his version of the events that took place, and he says that deserving as you are, this question, whatever you ask is all worthy of you, but you should not fault this on Duryodhana, because Dhritarashtra just now said, because of Duryodhana's fault, all this is happening. So Sanjay says that it is not Duryodhana's fault. So, and Sanjay says that man who incurs evil as a consequence of his own misconduct should not attribute that misconduct to others. So, king, you have all the misconduct is yours own. You could have stopped this war, but you did not. Now you are saying this is Duryodhana's fault or Pandavas killed Bhishma and things like that. That is not right. So again, when the man that does every kind of injury to other men and deserves to be slain by all the people. So he says that when all these things you have done, for that you deserve all these things. So Sanjay directly tells him this is what happened. And Pandavas do not do anything that wicked actions. They have, with their friends and counselors, they always listen to what you say. They went through all the difficulties and they have forgiven all of those things, and they lived in the forest because of you. So all this happened. So Sanjay says that don't blame others, Duryodhana and others. It is all your fault. So it is not right for you to blame others on your own misconduct. Then Sanjay starts saying that the horses, elephants, and the kings and everybody that's which has been I have seen in that battlefield through the yoga power that I can see, hear, and even do not. All those things I will narrate, and all these things has been predestined. That's all supposed to happen. That's what happened. So I will bow down to Vyasa here. Through his grace, I have obtained this excellent celestial vision, even sights beyond visual sense. So beyond visual sense means, so all our visions, we can see only as far as we can see, right? So some people can see some distance, some people can even a little bit more distance. But what Sanjay says is, whatever that's visible in our eyes, even beyond that what's there, even those things were visible to me. And even the things that in great distance that I could not hear, I could hear. And also the knowledge of other people's hearts. So what they are thinking. Okay, so those things as well, even though it is not said or done anything, if they are thinking about something, I could know all those things. And also the past, future, everything, I could know all this knowledge and all the uh, knowledge, and also origin of all the people transgressing the rules and things like that, whatever that one is not following. All those things I could see and visualize all those things in my vision because of Vyasa's grace. And for that reason, I bowed down to Vyasa. And I will recite this romantic and highly wonderful battle that happened between Bharatas and between the Bharatas. So he says that, so he again terms both the sides as Bharatas because both are came from the Bharata, right? So he says that I will narrate this romantic and wonderful battle that took place between them. So again, in this Mahabharata sessions, we probably will not look at the description of this battle in detail, because even when Dhritarashtra was asking all these questions, the way he describes and in the battle later on, when Sanjay starts describing all that battlefield and everything, the metaphors and similes and things like that they use, how they compare, how they describe that battle is It is very romantic. Okay, there is no other, probably another. There is there is no other uh, uh, thing, stories, or anything like this in this world, which is as good as Mahabharata. And even there is nothing even probably in another of our Shastras or Puranas, even Ramayana or anything, because this is such a wonderfully described here. Uh, so Sanjaya says that I will describe all those things to you. And then he starts explaining when they were all arrayed together and according to the rules, they were ready to battle. Duryodhana said, called Dushasana and said, Dushasana, make sure that everybody is protecting Bhishma. You make all our divisions to advance and make sure that it has now come to in front of me, whatever I wanted for many years, all that things have come to fruition now. So it's all coming together. So all along, I wanted this Pandavas and Kauravas battle, and with their respective troops head to head, say standing head to head. That's what is happening now. So make sure that Bhishma is protected. If Bhishma is protected, he will definitely kill the Pandavas, Somaka, Srinjayas, and everybody. He will kill all of them. And but that Bhishma has made it clear that he will not kill Shikandini because Shikandini was previously a female. So, and Bhishma said that he will not raise weapon against a female, even though he is now a male. So he will not raise his weapons against that person. So that's why you make sure that Shikandini never approaches. Put all our warriors in front of Bhishma so that Shikandini never reaches Bhishma. And as long as Bhishma lives on, we will our victory is guaranteed. So Duryodhana says that even when a lion, even though it is very strong, if it is left unprotected, it can be killed by a wolf. A gang of wolf can kill it. So similarly, even though Bhishma is such a strength, if he is left on his own, Shikandini, like a jackal, might come and kill Bhishma. That's why, just as Yudamanyu on the left side and Uttamoja on the right side protects Arjuna, and Arjuna protects Shikandini, just like that, make sure that all our warriors go and protect Bhishma, and so that Bhishma continues in this battlefield. So he gave that order to Dushasana, and the night passed, and the next morning, loud noise and everything started. All the kings and everybody started saying, "Array, array, prepare, prepare," and all of them with the conch shells and drums and all these things started. Horses and chariot wheels and all the noises started making. People were getting dressed up for that battlefield with their armor, coat, and everything. Both uh, Duryodhana, his side, and Pandavas, they all prepared for their side. Elephants, chariots, everything looked beautiful in that morning sun. So all of them were ready. And then Bhishma again stationed there. He looked beautiful like a full moon. And the warriors again aimed with bows and swords and all the other type of weapons. They dressed up in different kinds, took up their positions in their respective ranks. All of them, thousands of different forms, types of people with dress and weapons, and all of them were ready there. So weapons were made of weapons, chariots, all these made up of gold and gems and all these things, flags and everything, all those things were ready. So people were, the warriors, all of them were getting ready. And Shakuni, Shalya, Jayadratha, and the two princes of Avanti, Vinda and Anuvinda, with Keka brother Sudakshina, who is the ruler of Cambodia, and Shrudayada, Kalinga's king, and then Jayasena, Bharatbala from Koshala, Kritavarma, all these, they took an Akshoni of troops and they prepared themselves for uh, this battle. And then again, there were many others, kings and princes from different parts of coming from different parts of the world and assembled for Duryodhana. They all prepared with their own troops and divisions, and all of them again dressed in deer skin with they all had great strength and very much accomplished in battlefield. They cheerfully prepared for Duryodhana's sake in that battlefield and stood there commanding total 10 Akshayanis of battle, and the 11th Akshayani on Duryodhana's side, consisting of Dhritarashtra's army that stood in advance of the entire 10 Akshayani of army. So again, in front of that army was Bhishma in his white headgear, white umbrella, white coat, and that Bhishma was looking like a rising moon, and he was there with Balmara of gold himself stationed in that car made of silver. That Bhishma was there looking at both Kurus and Pandavas looking at him. He looked like a moon encircled by white clouds. So he was such a beautiful scene. And then all the bowmen, including Drishtadimna, looking at that Bhishma standing there in that like that, all of them trembled in fear because Bhishma was such a strength and such a charisma and energy. All of them started fearing for Bhishma. So then again, just as Vyasa said previously, the earth started shaking and all these ill omens started coming there. Jackals, crows, and everything started making weird noise and cries. And from all directions, it all looked very red. The sky looked very red. And the Bhishma and Drona, Sanjay also says that Bhishma and Drona, every day when they wake up in the morning, with their concentrated mind, they used to say victory to Pandavas. So even though they were in battle throughout the day, they used to have the battle for Duryodhana. When they wake up, first thing they used to say was, Pandavas, let them have the victory. So they have pledged for Duryodhana's sake, but they were fighting for Duryodhana's sake, but they were wishing victory for Pandavas. And again, Bhishma, fully aware of all the duties and everything, he has summoned all the kings and said that the door is open to heaven now. So you are at the gates of heaven. Go through this Indra and Brahma's region, you can enter. So rishis in the olden times have said that this is the eternal path for the Kshatriyas. So that's why engage in this battle with attentive minds, focusing on that attentive mind, attend that. So Nabhaga, Yayati, Mandati, Nahusha, Nriga, all those were crowned with success and obtained the highest regions by the battles like this. So for a Kshatriya to die because of disease at home is a sin. Death in the battlefield is the eternal duty. So he addresses all the Kshatriyas like that. So when he addresses like that, all the kings looked beautiful in that. All of them took their respective divisions. Only Surya's son Karna, with his friends, he did not take part in that battlefield because of the arguments he had with Bhishma previously. So without Karna, Duryodhana and all his brothers and everybody, they and their sons and friends and everybody, they made their way and making a huge sound. They made their way to in that divisions they made prepared there for the battle. So we will stop there and we will look at the continuation of this next.